Next up, ladies and gents, I'd like to invite Peter Moore, CEO of Liverpool Football Club, up here to say a few words on behalf of the football club.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you, Ian. Great work. Thank you. I know that went on a little longer than you'd planned, so it did really well. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today at Anfield, where, not for the first time in the illustrious history of this stadium, we are here and gathered to celebrate Kenny Dalglish, a man who has given so much to Liverpool Football Club as a player, as a manager, and most recently as a non-executive director. This is a special day for him and for us. For Kenny, it is one in which his association with the club is further cemented, both literally and metaphorically. And for those of us who view him as the embodiment of the Liverpool way and everything that stands for, it is another opportunity to demonstrate how much he means and how much he will always mean to the club and to its supporters. Kenny's worthiness of the esteem in which he continues to be held in this city and beyond is indisputable. Debates about who's Liverpool's greatest ever player or the greatest ever manager, they'll rage forever. But there is little dispute that Kenny was the greatest player in arguably the greatest Liverpool team, or that as a manager, he produced a side so captivating that the late Sir Tom Finney compared it favourably with the boys from Brazil. From the minute he arrived on Merseyside 40 years ago, his influence on the club and the city has been profound. If Kenny's success can be measured in medals and trophies, his reach as a human being and his ability to inspire remains immeasurable. It was for those reasons, and many more besides, that approximately 12 months ago, ownership began discussions with a view to acknowledging Kenny's unique contribution to this football club, with the end result being that the centenary stand would be renamed in his honour. For John, Tom and Mike, this was a straightforward decision, because although their interest in Liverpool is only relatively recent in terms of the history of the club, it took them no time whatsoever to learn what Kenny Dalglish means to Liverpool and what Liverpool means to Kenny Dalglish. 4 decades may have passed since his debut and 3 since his final Liverpool goal, but his exploits on and off the pitch were such that no one who comes into contact with this club could be left in any doubt about the fact, and it is a fact, that Kenny represents all that is good about Liverpool. When the owners sat down with Kenny to inform him of their plans for this stand, they told him this wasn't just an acknowledgement of his achievements as a player and as a manager. It was also recognition of the powerful sense of community spirit that he engendered, and a tribute to his peerless ability to inspire generations of people throughout the world. When dates were being considered for the unveiling of the Kenny Dalglish stand to take place, 2 of the main considerations were that it was close to a fixture of a magnitude in keeping with the significance of the occasion, and also that it happened in the year of our 125th anniversary. Given the identity of tomorrow's opposition, I can safely say that we had delivered on both of those fronts. But as a consequence of the timing of today's announcement, it has worked against ownership, who, as we were aware when the date was agreed, had prior commitments which meant they were unable to attend. It is a testament to John, Tom and Mike that they put the need to honour Kenny in the most fitting fashion at the earliest opportunity ahead of their own desire to be here, and they will instead commemorate what is such a special moment for Kenny and for the club later this year. But best of all, and Jurgen Klopp, our manager, has already made this point to Kenny in a way that only Jurgen can. This is all happening when Kenny is around to enjoy the adulation. Far too often society waits for heroes to depart before homage is paid. So, as Jurgen actually said to Kenny, it is great that this is happening whilst he's still with us. Each of us will have our own special memories of Kenny. For some, it will be that delightful dink against Bruges that won us our 2nd European Cup in 1978. For others, it will be the deft chest control and the sumptuous volley at Chelsea, which helped us to complete the first part of a league and cup double 8 years later. There are countless other moments that come to mind, almost all of which are accompanied by images of him wheeling away, arms outstretched in trademark celebration. And that is why Bob Paisley, arguably the greatest judge of players that there has ever been, once famously said of Kenny, "When he shines, the entire team is illuminated." For a man of famously few words, Bob managed to capture exactly what Kenny was about as a footballer. So too have the Liverpool supporters who still sing about him to this day. Kenny Dalglish on the ball, he was the greatest of them all. Around the fields of Anfield Road, where we once watched King Kenny play. And could he play? I'd walk 1,000,000 miles for one of your goals, oh Kenny. So I'm not going to spoil a wonderful occasion by bursting into song, but given the special place that Kenny holds in the hearts of all fans, I thought it was appropriate their feelings will also be central to this tribute. With Kenny being such a modest individual and a team player, I know he will be feeling a bit uncomfortable about having to be the subject of so much praise. But I'm afraid he's going to have to bear with me a little longer. What really sets him apart, and I say this being as aware as anybody of his sporting achievements, is what he stands for as a human being. Humility, dignity, honor, diligence, loyalty, selflessness. For one person to have all of these characteristics is impressive. To have them in abundance is remarkably rare. But given the way he was always conducted himself, I can say without fear of contradiction that Kenny belongs in that very special group. We saw this in 1989, when 96 of our supporters were tragically and unlawfully killed at Hillsborough. Then, when people of this city needed him most, Kenny provided leadership that went beyond the call of duty and showed a compassion to the families and survivors that I know is still appreciated to this day. It was easy to forget that Kenny was still a young man, 38 years of age, but he and his family led the club's response in our darkest hour, and they did so in a manner which is almost beyond comprehension, given nothing could have prepared them for what they were facing. Typically, Kenny has always maintained that whatever he went through paled in comparison to what the families were enduring. But the families themselves, representatives of whom are with us today, have always been clear in their belief that the unstinting support they received from him served as a crutch when they needed one the most. The same applies to those who have benefited from the Marina Dalglish Appeal, a charity that was set up by the Dalglish family 12 years ago with the aim of helping breast cancer sufferers on Merseyside. The efforts of Marina and Kenny on this front have led to the opening of a £1.5 million chemotherapy unit at Aintree Hospital, where Marina herself was treated, the donation of a new mammogram machine, and numerous other interventions that have made such a positive difference to the fight against breast cancer in this area. So when all of this is considered, the acts of compassion, the feats of individual sporting achievement, the stature he holds within the Merseyside community and beyond, renaming one of Anfield's 4 stands in honour of Kenny Dalglish makes perfect sense. And I hope that in some small way, it gives you, Kenny, some of the immense pleasure that you have given us. Thank you, Kenny and family.